But what happens to a child where the attachment need is not compatible with the need for authenticity? In other words, if I'm authentic, my parents will reject me.
I can see some tears right now. What is happening for you?
The purpose of a compassionate inquiry is to drill down to the core stories people tell themselves, to get them to see what story they are telling themselves unconsciously, what those beliefs are, where they came from, and guide them to the possibility of letting go of those stories or letting go of the hold those stories have on them. That's what compassionate inquiry is. First, I didn't know that I was repressing emotions, but after my 30 days of shadow work, I kind of became aware of it, but still I didn't know how to get in contact with the emotions, although I knew what they were. And this is how I got into compassionate inquiry and what I want to share with you today. My personal experiences, what I've talked about during the sessions, and what kind of impact it had on my psyche and how it helped me. And one of my friends from my old master program, she was doing a traineeship in CI with Gabor Maté, and she actually told me about that there are therapists who are offering sessions. So I checked out on the internet on the website that you can also see here for therapists, and this is how I got in contact with Felipe. He's a psychotherapist who's also trained in CI, and he has a long history of other approaches such as humanistic and narrative therapy, where you've got a strong focus on emotions and not only on the cognitive processes. And he was the one that I was working with. But let's come to the question, how do you actually do compassionate inquiry? And in every single session that we had, we always started with a short grounding, which was super helpful, and afterwards we clarified the intention for the session.
What is your intention for today? What you would like to explore with me today?
This morning I had a situation with my mom in my bathroom, and she felt that I became more or less empathetic, and she said more self-centered, and that kind of hit me or hurt me a little bit. It's nothing that I've heard for the first time, but I noticed that in this moment, inside of me, there was I was just closing because I didn't really want it to feel. I still tried to be open, but I noticed that there was some resistance, and since it kind of touched me, I wanted to go more into it. And we talked about different topics. We started about talking my personal insecurities in the first sessions, which were about how I view my body, and this was a lot related to shame. In 2 sessions, we talked about some of my psychedelic experiences, which was super interesting because he's also trained to work with people and psychedelics. And then towards the end, it moved more and more towards the relationship with my mother, and a lot of anger repression, sadness and pain, and those typical core beliefs of I'm good, not good enough, that kind of are connected to it. And those were the things that we've basically discussed in, I think, the 10 sessions that we had together.
So what if you let me know what happened with you when you heard the words self-centered and less empathetic?
That in my chest area, it just there was some kind of just contraction, more moving in a little bit pressure, and it felt just like a protection that I was aware of, but actually I thought I don't really need this, but it still happened, and And I had the feeling that the therapist was really trying to be present with me and was also trying to trust
in my own process, which really helped to create a safe and non-judgmental atmosphere. And mostly we started with talking about the situation, mostly current one, for instance, a situation where I got triggered by my mom, and really bringing up the situation and then seeing what kind of feelings might come up, what kind of sensations I can feel, and really trying to focus on them and kind of to play with them, seeing what kind of emotions are connected to it, and then to see if this emotion is very familiar or in what kind of context I had experienced this emotion in my childhood. Yeah. And then also what kind of stories I believed about myself, and then trying to, do this in a very gentle, compassionate way.
And when you ask yourself why this is happening, I can perceive a judgment there still. If you are not authentic in those moments, who are you becoming?
Yeah, I feel like in this situation I also like kind of closed down because I didn't want to like feel this or like to accept this. But although she said, oh, like I'm so sorry that it happened and all of those things, but this is the situation that I remember.
And therewith, we come to the next point: what happens to our psyche during the process of CI? And to explore this, I try to combine my personal experiences, the assumptions of my friend Gabor Maté, and the therapist, and try to kind of wrap it up. During the process of CI, we try to go into past traumatic experiences, and during this process, it can happen that the psyches regress to the past, so it's like a part of us is actually still there. And I also had this a lot during the sessions when I went really deep, that I just felt like a little 5-year-old boy, for instance.
And there's like always this image like a person like myself in this ocean of tears, and it's dark and it feels like almost like I'm drowning in it.
And by gently allowing these raw emotions to be felt that the client itself didn't allow to feel, or due to the past conditions it was not possible to allow them, they kind of get the opportunity to make a positive, let's say, new experience. And then the clients can question for themselves if all those old stories of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and connected behaviors that might have been supportive and adaptive in the past are still necessary to hold on to. And I think it's very helpful that the therapist is doing it in a very safe, non-judgmental atmosphere, and also is trying to create some distance between the viewer and those past experiences and all those emotions, because due to this distance, it's not that overwhelming.
Is there something that we can offer to this kid today, Till? From this adult part that is deciding to show himself in front of a therapist and talk about his emotions and acknowledge his story. There's something that we could say today to this Till.
And we assume that as a result of this new experience, the brain's neuroplasticity allows to reorganize pathways, create new connections, and in some cases even create new neurons. You could also say that we come closer to our authentic self, and therefore we are able to experience more compassion and empathy towards ourselves and also others.
Thank you very much. And from this calmness and all these beautiful insights that you're getting right now, Till, are there any connections that you are doing regarding your main intention? We got a memory in the past 7 years old. We got many emotions moving into your body, sensations, beliefs. Can you see any connections between your main intention and what we explore in this session?
To sum it up, we try to uncover past repressed memories, experience those blocked energies that are connected to them, and try to get to know different parts of ourselves and all those core stories that are connected to those parts, and trying to let go of them, and also experiencing and discovering new qualities of ourselves, or maybe old ones that we have lost touch with. The conclusion: since I'm doing a traineeship in psychodynamic therapy, I'm used to analyzing other people, including myself. But this does not mean that I know how to get in contact with all my emotions, how to allow them and how to feel into them. And what I really enjoyed about compassionate inquiry in comparison to other therapeutic approaches is that you can get quite deep quite quickly if you feel ready for it. Also, CI tries to focus on experiencing emotions and really trying to express them in a way it is mostly, I don't say always, but mostly not done in psychodynamic approaches or CBT. In psychodynamic approaches, there's a much stronger focus on inner conflicts, unconscious desires, defense mechanisms, and how to make them conscious. While in CBT, there's much more focus on the symptoms themselves, and trying to detect certain beliefs, core beliefs, and trying to change them. But what I really enjoyed about CI is that I was going into those past painful experiences, but with really a lot of compassion and self-acceptance, which mostly is not done in the same degree in those other approaches. And last, I personally think that CI is more holistically oriented in comparison to, let's say, CBT, because it really tries to focus on the body, mind, emotions, and also spirit. While in CBT, it's also to a certain degree holistically oriented, but more the combination between behavior and thought pattern, and sometimes also emotions, but not to the same degree. And I learned how to be softer and more kind to myself, and also trying to do those inquiries for myself, which is, however, not that easy. I learned how to bring attention to my body signals and access emotional states through body awareness, not only during the sessions, but also in daily life when there are unpleasant sensations, that I notice them and listen to them, because they've got very valuable information. But before, I was mostly busy trying to hide my vulnerability, unpleasant emotions, and just putting on the social mask of, I'm good, everything is good over here. I also learned how to spot early events of my childhood and connect with the repressed emotions that have been subconscious or unconscious. I realized how much I was spiritually bypassing because I was using meditation actually to avoid facing unresolved emotional issues. And last, I learned to listen more to my intuition and gut feelings and to trust them. First, I didn't know that I was repressing emotions. Then I noticed it, but I didn't know how to get in contact with them. After the sessions, I learned how to get in contact with them and how to hold them. And now, little by little, I also learn how to express them more authentically and also how to share them with other people if I feel safe. And yeah, that's it for today. Make also sure to check out this video about the shadow work, or if you want to, also this video. I hope you have a nice day. My name is Till, and this is Till Talk.
If I feel what I feel and express what I feel and insist on my own truth, my parents can't handle it.